Hello and welcome to the Thriving Gut series. We are here to learn how to support and nourish our gut to help ourselves thrive in every way. Our gut health is related to every aspect of our lives, our immune system, our moods, even our cravings. So I'm happy to welcome here once again Dr. Abigail Seaver. She's a naturopath in Ridgeway, and I will turn the floor over to you, Dr. Abigail.
Thank you. So, as you all know, my name is Abigail Seaver. I'm a naturopathic doctor. I specialize in helping my patients heal their gut and resolve digestive issues, also balance their hormones and treat autoimmune conditions. So, those are some of my specialties, but I see patients for a broad array of conditions as well, in addition to those. And so, is anyone, I know this is something that could be part of question and answer, but I'm just going to put it out there right now. So, is anyone experiencing any problems with their digestive tract, whether it be gas, bloating, pain, nausea, constipation, diarrhea, anything in that realm? You could raise your hand or just
Yeah.
respond in the chat or just nod. So if that is the case, then you will find today's topic very relevant. So today we're going to be discussing small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And you might think, that sounds very obscure. Why would we be spending a whole entire session on overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine? But in fact, this overgrowth is now known as the most common underlying cause of irritable bowel syndrome. So, irritable bowel syndrome, you may have heard of it. It's a very common medical diagnosis and basically encompasses all of the symptoms we just mentioned. So, it is oftentimes a diagnosis that we arrive at after we've rolled out some more serious gut conditions, and you still have these symptoms, and we don't know what else is causing them. So we just call it irritable bowel syndrome. And in the past, we didn't have a really good handle on what may have caused the irritable bowel syndrome. But now we really do. And we know that most cases are actually due to too much bacteria in the small intestine. So, does anyone have any thoughts, or maybe you read some of our email newsletters that we put out to promote this talk? Any ideas as to whether there are any other medical issues that might be connected to small intestine bacterial overgrowth in addition to irritable bowel syndrome? This is kind of an advanced question, but okay. So, yeah, go ahead, Judy.
Well, as you know, I had major abdominal surgery, and it was after that that all of this started, but it still took another year or so to be diagnosed. Yeah.
Right. Yes. So yes, there are other conditions that can be associated with small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and abdominal surgery is definitely one of them. It's a big predisposing factor. But there's a whole panoply of medical conditions that are pretty seemingly unrelated, like obesity, diabetes, pancreatitis, autoimmune disease, restless leg syndrome, even anxiety and depression, that are actually linked to small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And so, oftentimes when I see these conditions now, that's in the back of my mind, thinking, okay, do we need to address this to really get to the root cause of that condition? And so the research is new on a lot of this. It's just emerging. But it's quite striking that many of these seemingly unrelated medical conditions actually have a root cause in the imbalance of the digestive bacteria. So, as we spoke last time, all disease starts in the gut, and it's proving itself, research is proving that to be correct. So any thoughts on exactly what is small intestine bacterial overgrowth? Does anyone have a clue as to what that actually might be? So essentially, it is colon bacteria that somehow ended up in the small intestine. So most of our gut bacteria resides in the colon, which is the large intestine. And in this situation, somehow that bacteria ended up in the small intestine. And does anyone have any idea how that may have happened or how that could happen?
You're welcome to either raise your hand or put a response in the chat as well. So whatever feels best.
So some of the biggest reasons why that happens is problems with what we call motility, which is the muscular movement of the small intestine. So normally the small intestine has really pretty vigorous muscular movements that move food and bacteria through and keep it moving through in a timely fashion. And so when anything disrupts that motility, bacteria and food can hang out in the small intestine longer than it should. And some things that can cause problems with motility include surgeries to that area. So surgeries on the intestine, the stomach, anything in that area can interrupt motility. Also having low thyroid function can slow your motility. Having a condition called gastroparesis, where the stomach doesn't empty as quickly as it should, allows food to hang out there too long. And then also just being sedentary, believe it or not, can disrupt your motility. And there's some other factors that we're going to talk about. And then use of certain medications, so antibiotics, steroids, and narcotics. So some of these are kind of a cocktail that you get when you have a surgery. So if you have a major surgery, you're going to get antibiotics. You might get steroids before or after, and you might get narcotics for pain control. So all of that, in addition to the surgery itself, can be a major setup for small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So oftentimes people do develop this problem after having a major surgery of some kind. And then also low stomach acid. So stomach acid actually helps to keep the small intestine relatively low in bacterial count. And so when we have normal stomach acid production, that can keep the bacterial count, in a reasonable range. But when we're not making enough stomach acid, either because of inherent problems in our stomach or because of taking acid blocking medications, which are an extremely common class of medications that are used today, we can end up with low stomach acid, which allows bacteria to flourish in the small intestine. So those are some of the reasons why you might end up with this problem in the first place. Sometimes we never really discover why, but oftentimes we can trace it back to a surgery, use of certain medications, certain underlying medical problems, maybe being too sedentary. We're going to talk about certain eating habits that might contribute to it as well. So this is oftentimes how you end up with this problem. And then any ideas as to why this might even be a problem for you? So when there's too much bacteria in that part of the intestine, anyone have any ideas as to what kinds of problems that might cause or why it would even be a problem? Why would you even need to worry about it? So the reason why you would need to worry about it, or the reason why it could be a problem is number one, you might experience a lot of digestive problems. So when there's too much bacteria in that part of your intestine, whenever you eat carbohydrates, that bacteria is going to start working on those carbohydrates and fermenting those carbohydrates. And that's going to create a great deal of gas and bloating. So you might experience gas and bloating after meals. And then secondarily, and even more importantly, you're going to end up with nutrient deficiencies over time if this is not corrected. So the small intestine is where we absorb most of our nutrients, and the low bacterial count, actually, the naturally low bacterial count there actually helps us to be able to absorb nutrients. But if we have too much bacteria, then that can actually inhibit our ability to absorb nutrients. And they're important ones like vitamin B12 and iron. So if you are finding that, or your doctor is finding that you have nutrient deficiencies and there's no real specific obvious reason for it, so maybe you're not a vegetarian, you're not a vegan, you're not on any kind of restricted diet, but yet you have some nutrient deficiencies that are unexplained. It may be due to the fact that there's too much bacteria in the small intestine inhibiting your absorption of nutrients. And if that is left untreated for years, then you can end up with some pretty serious problems as a result of just the nutrient deficiencies. So those are some of the problems that this can cause. And then, as I mentioned previously, there can be a link to some of those other more significant medical conditions like obesity, diabetes, chronic pancreatitis, autoimmune disease, if this is left untreated as well. So how do we know that overgrowth of small intestine bacterial of the small intestine is actually the culprit? So does anyone have any idea how we might suspect that we have this problem or that we need to address it? So is there any way that we would actually know? So the way that we know for certain is with testing, and I'll describe that in a moment, but there are some symptoms, some bodily symptoms that can tell us that we might be thinking about this as an underlying problem. So one of them is that you get a great deal of gas and bloating after meals. And so oftentimes these are meals that are higher in prebiotic fibers. So in our last talk, we discussed what prebiotic fiber is. It's essentially fibers that are used by the bacteria in the large intestine to basically keep those bacteria healthy and happy and to feed them. But when we are getting a lot of gas and bloating from things like onions and garlic and beans and asparagus and fibrous foods, that is a big clue that there might be too much bacteria in our small intestine, working on those bacteria, fermenting them, and creating undesirable effects. So if you just cannot tolerate some of those high fiber foods or prebiotic foods, and you always get very gassy and bloated from them, that is a big clue that you have small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Also, if you have a lot of food sensitivities, so if you can't tolerate all kinds of different foods for a variety of different reasons, you might have small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So whether you've tried the low FODMAP diet and that diet really helps you, that's a diet that was specifically developed for irritable bowel syndrome that has you eliminate certain types of carbohydrates that are known to cause a lot of gas and bloating. So if that diet really helps you, that's a big clue that you have small intestine bacterial overgrowth. But even if you have other food sensitivities that have developed over time for no apparent reason, all of a sudden you just can't tolerate this food and that food, or you have histamine intolerance, or you have fructose intolerance. If you have a variety of different kinds of food intolerances, that have just developed out of nowhere for no apparent reason, then it may indicate that you have too much bacteria in your small intestine, and that's really the underlying cause of the problem that we actually need to treat it. Also, if you're seeing evidence, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dr. Abigail. It looks like Jessica has raised her hand and has a question. So
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Sievert. I just
Hi.
feel like, I don't know. I feel like everybody gets a lot of gas when they eat beans and onions and stuff, but maybe that's just my family and maybe we all have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I don't know. But is that common? I mean, is it really common to get gas?
So yeah, so beans do contain a sugar that is hard to break down and it will cause gas and bloating. But I would say if you get gas from onions and garlic and beans and asparagus and broccoli and all of the foods that are high in those prebiotic fibers, artichokes, and yeah, all of them. And you're pretty consistently gassy and bloated after most to all meals, then that is a big clue.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. And so where were we? So other signs that SIBO might be the culprit are that you're seeing signs of fat malabsorption in your stool. So you might be seeing actual droplets of fat in your stool. So you can actually see that in the toilet, believe it or not. And then also, as I mentioned previously, maybe your doctor has discovered that you have nutrient deficiencies and you don't really know why. So this can be a reason why. There are other reasons why as well that your doctor would want to rule out, like celiac disease. But if you, for some reason, are low in vitamin B12 and iron and maybe some other nutrients, and there's not a clear cause for that, then we need to look at small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So to know for absolute certain that this is present, we order a special breath test. And the breath test is a test that measures hydrogen and methane gas production. And these gases are produced by your bacteria in the small intestine fermenting carbohydrates. So kind of like cows, we emit methane gas and also hydrogen gas, and it can be measured with this breath test. It's a home test. It needs to be ordered by a doctor. But you perform the test at home and then send it back to the lab. The lab analyzes your results, and then we can see what your levels look like. And if levels are elevated, then that's a big indication that you might have small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Also, your doctor might, or myself, might order tests to look for nutrient deficiencies. So if you've had these gut problems for a long time, or you have some other symptoms that suggest nutrient deficiencies, we might order a blood test to check for nutrient deficiencies. And then we can order a stool test, and the stool test might be a basic one, just looking for fat malabsorption, so too much fat coming through in your stool, meaning that you're not absorbing fat appropriately. Or we might do a more comprehensive one, looking at all the good bacteria, all the bad bacteria, looking for yeast, parasites, worms, doing a more comprehensive analysis to make sure we're not missing anything. But within that, we can also look for some of the telltale bad bacteria that are associated with small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So those are some of the ways that we determine, is this really a problem for you and do we really need to treat it? So are there any foods that could make this worse? So based upon our prior discussion last week, anyone have any clues about specific foods that can make small intestine bacterial overgrowth, or abbreviated SIBO, could make that worse?
Wild guess that maybe sugar and processed foods may not help.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so sugar and all sweeteners, natural or unnatural, actually can make this worse. So even though technically, if you're following the low FODMAP diet, for instance, that diet will say that white sugar and certain artificial sweeteners do not cause problems in this realm. In fact, all sweeteners can encourage the overgrowth of bacteria in the small intestine and can make the symptoms worse. Basically, the bacteria is feeding on the sugars, and even the unnatural or artificial sweeteners that don't have any caloric value to them can make the balance of the bacteria worse. So unfortunately, all sweeteners can make the situation less healthy. And then also refined flour products, and then all grains even are suspected to cause a problem here. So I treat this individually with my patients. I don't automatically take all patients with digestive problems off of all grains, but sometimes grains in general can be a problem and can promote this problem. And then anyone have a clue as to what medications might really make the situation worse?
I understand that antibiotics, in fact, that's why I as you know, started working with you again. I mean, I've known you for years, but I did not want to take an antibiotic because I heard you lose both kinds of bacteria in your system, the good and the bad.
Right, right. Yes, yeah. So antibiotics, absolutely. And then also steroids in addition to narcotics. So kind of the list we already went through. And then also acid blockers. So I would say acid blockers are probably one of the most significant in this realm because so many of my patients come to me on acid blockers. It's just one of the most common pharmaceutical medications that is prescribed and then also available over the counter, and were originally only intended to be used for a 2-week time span to reduce acid production in the stomach to allow conditions like ulcers to heal. But now so many of my patients have been on them for years and are coming to me in that situation. So those medications, as we talked about, inhibit your stomach acid production, which can allow bacteria in the small intestine to proliferate and to be able to hang out there. So that's often something that I'm working with patients to reduce or to be able to get off of so that they can have a healthy stomach environment, which allows for a healthy small intestine environment. And then any ideas in the kind of lifestyle realm that could help to prevent these things from happening or getting worse in the first place? I mentioned one of them previously. So we talked about being sedentary. So movement, getting up out of your chair every half hour to hour if you're sitting there doing something, just moving your body, getting daily exercise, but not just going for a run once a day and then sitting for hours at your desk, but doing a little bit of movement interspersed throughout your day actually really helps to keep your gut motility working properly, get those muscles in the small intestine contracting appropriately to move food and bacteria through so that the bacteria is not just sitting there. So that would be one thing. And then Jessica mentioned stress, and yes, that is one of them as well. So the stress hormones that we can make actually do interfere with motility. So if you're in a very stressful situation or your life seems to be full of prolonged, stress, if you're just in a stressful situation ongoing, and it's not something that's letting up anytime soon, then definitely get help. Especially if you're also having digestive problems, because that will really interfere with your gut motility, believe it or not. Another thing is the timing of how you're eating. So I think in a future session, Vasi is going to be teaching us about intermittent fasting, but spacing out your meals and not snacking continuously throughout the day is actually beneficial. So making sure that you leave space in between breakfast and lunch and dinner, and that you're stopping eating 3 hours before bedtime actually allows that food and the bacteria to move out of the small intestine and to be able to, be cleared by morning so that you can then eat breakfast again. And maybe you're delaying your breakfast as an intermittent fasting style to allow even more time for that. So spacing out meals, having a good overnight fast of at least 12 hours will allow that food and the bacteria to move through the small intestine and not hang out there for too long. So just spacing out your meals appropriately can help, and doing the opposite, so eating right before bed and kind of grazing throughout the day. I know some of us are prone to that. Especially if you're having digestive symptoms, can make it worse. So that's a really simple thing to be aware of that you can make a change with right away. And then if you are experiencing any of these symptoms and you'd like more help, or you have one of these other medical conditions that might be associated with small intestine bacterial overgrowth, and you'd like to delve into that with me to see if there might be an association and you're interested in testing and treatment for it, then contact me. As I mentioned, we might order that special breath test. We might do some blood tests or a stool test to take a look and see what's going on there. What is the status of your gut? And then our treatment methods include, for me, natural ways to inhibit bacterial overgrowth. So we're actually, in many cases, reducing bacterial populations and then repopulating with beneficial bacteria afterwards, and employing some strategies, both lifestyle and diet wise, to prevent the problem from coming back. So that's the way that I treat it, but contact me if you're needing more help with that. And then it looked like someone had a question about, does SIBO ever go away? It absolutely does. So SIBO can be successfully treated with antibacterial, either herbal treatments or a special antibiotic. And there are some strategies that I use to keep it from coming back, because sometimes it comes back. So sometimes we end up treating it a second time, and we really want to try to prevent it from coming back and prevent you from having to go through the treatment a second time. It's not a terrible thing to treat it again, but it'd be nice not to have to do that. So the SIBO can absolutely be kept at bay, but you do need to be pretty mindful of diet, eating habits, staying active, and then some other specific strategies that I use to prevent it from coming back. So that's a good question. All right. So I'm wondering if we should move into our question and answer period at this point. Oh, you are muted, by the way, Vasi.
Thank you. Okay. We had some wonderful questions here. And now we're going to move into our next phase of this class, which is a guided relaxation visualization practice. You may have heard of people using visualization to treat various things like cancer, imagining their tumors getting smaller. It can be very effective in a range of different ways. So I just want you to find a comfortable position, and it might be sitting or it might be lying down, as long as you can hear my voice. And I will guide you through some relaxation and visualization to support your healthy, vibrant gut. So starting to take some deep breaths and making sure that your body is comfortable. So shifting if you need to. You can add some micro movements from your shoulders just to make sure your shoulders are nice and comfortable and that your feet feel supported either on the floor or you might be lying down. And just connecting with your breath here. Taking a few natural, normal breaths. And allowing your body to just start to relax. Nobody needs anything from you at this time. This is your time to relax, to let go. And then imagining a wave of relaxation moving from the top of your head all the way down to your feet, relaxing every part that it goes through. feeling your scalp, your face, your whole head relax, your neck, feeling any tension or stress releasing from your neck as your neck starts to feel nice and loose, like a handful of loose rubber bands. And that wave moves down through your shoulders, your upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. As your arms start to feel really loose and relaxed. And feeling that wave going through your heart and upper back area, releasing any stress or tension from that area. Starting to just feel really comfortable in your body as any stress or tension releases away from your body. And that wave is now moving through your abdomen and middle back, releasing and relaxing all those digestive organs that we just talked about. Allowing them to just let go and feel really comfortable in this moment. As that wave moves down through your lower abdomen and lower back, releasing any tension, relaxing every part of your torso. The wave is now going into your hips and upper legs, your quads, your thighs are completely relaxed, feeling loose and comfortable. Your knees, the backs of your knees, shins, calves, ankles, feeling the wave moving through the tops of your feet, your heels, all your toes, and just allowing your whole body to just feel really relaxed and comfortable. Taking a few moments to allow any remaining bits of stress or tension to just drop away from you. Connecting with a deep sense of peace and relaxation in this moment. And from here, we're going to engage our imagination. You're going to see yourself in a beautiful field on a warm, comfortable day. You're lying down in the grass or maybe sitting, whatever position feels most comfortable to you in this space. And allowing yourself to just enjoy this beautiful day. Maybe there are wildflowers in this field, beautiful green grass, vibrant blue sky, with some clouds rolling through, but a lot of sunshine as well. Feeling your skin. Maybe there's a gentle, comfortable breeze that you feel with your arms, with your face. Noticing any sounds here. Maybe there are birds singing around you. Maybe it's just the sound of the breeze. And then allowing yourself to lie down if you're not already lying down in this beautiful field, and noticing that there are some clouds overhead that are moving through at a very peaceful pace. And you just feel really comfortable and at ease watching these clouds going by, allowing your mind to just drift and relax and enjoy being in this space. And with every cloud you see coming by, your body relaxes more and more. Cloud 10, you feel yourself going even deeper. Cloud 9, more and more relaxed. Cloud 8, your body's now feeling really light and comfortable and at ease. Cloud 7, any thoughts or distractions are falling away from you. All you connect with now is my voice and the clouds and this beautiful space you're in. Cloud 7, more and more relaxed. 6, feeling so good. 5, deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, feeling so comfortable, so at ease as a sense of joy just moves through your body. 3, allowing yourself to just enjoy feeling comfortable and at ease. 2, more and more relaxed. And 1, feeling so relaxed and so comfortable, more than you can imagine, maybe in a long time. Just allowing yourself to enjoy these feelings in this beautiful natural space. And taking these feelings of comfort and relaxation with you, you are now starting to slowly get up and explore your environment. So you start to walk through this field. You notice there are some trees. You get curious about what might be over there. And you walk over to those trees. It's a beautiful, safe forest that really beckons you to come check it out. Maybe the trees have fall colors on them. They're beautiful fall foliage. And you just walk through this forest on the soft, comfortable forest floor, hearing the leaves rustling around you. And you notice that there's a little cave, but it's big enough that you can see. You can see what's in there, so you know there's nothing scary in there. And you just get curious and you walk through this cave. And as you walk through this cave, it's almost like a portal that takes you to a different reality, which you now know is actually your gut. You are now a tiny being who's in your gut. You're in your large intestine right now. But feeling really safe and comfortable. There's nothing scary here. Nothing scary. It's all safe, all comfortable. You have this feeling of comfort and relaxation that you felt in the field with you. And you notice that in one of your hands, you have this small tool that you recognize as it's like a zapper that you can use if you want to zap any bacteria that you find that don't belong in your gut. You can zap them, or maybe it's a small vacuum cleaner that you can use to suck them up. So that you can use one of these tools, whichever one you'd prefer, to start to clear out your gut from any bacteria that don't belong here. And in your other hand, you notice that you have a little cup of food, prebiotic food that's really nourishing for your good bacteria. And so you have these two tools that you're going to use as you move through your gut, continuing to feel really comfortable, really relaxed as you move through this. And you're going to notice as you look around you that there are a number of little circles or spheres moving around you. It's almost like you're in a video game right now. Some of them are red, and you know that those are not quite where they need to be. They're not in the right place. That doesn't make them bad. They're just not good for you in this moment. They might be causing symptoms you don't like. So those red ones, you're going to use your zapper or your vacuum cleaner to zap those or clear those out of your gut. And you're going to notice some other ones are green and blue. And those are the ones that are really nourishing for your gut, and you want to support those. So anytime you see clusters of blue and green bacteria, you're going to pour some of your prebiotic cup there to support those really good bacteria and to help them to do good work in your gut. So you're going to start to move around using these two tools to clear out and nourish at the same time your gut environment, starting with the large intestine. So taking a few moments to just move through and zap the red ones that you see moving around, whether they're circles, whether they're ovals. You're going to either zap them or use your vacuum cleaner to clear them out. Anytime you see clusters of the blue and green, you're going to pour some of that nourishing prebiotic food you have in one of your hands to nourish them, to support them, to help them thrive. And maybe as you move through, there's a little sound you hear every time you zap one or vacuum one, it's zap. And every time you nourish them, you feel a sense of, ah. So just moving through, clearing your gut. Removing any bacteria that don't need to be there. Those little red ones, they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You can remove them easily and effortlessly. And those green and blue ones that you know are good for your health, you're going to nourish those and support those with the food. And have fun with this. Just imagine that you're in this video game that's helping you to upgrade your health by clearing your gut. And also knowing on a deeper level that you are doing things in your life that are also supporting your gut, like seeing amazing practitioners like Dr. Abigail Seaver, choosing nourishing foods, staying away from foods that don't support your gut at this moment. You know that you are doing those too, but in this moment, you're just going to enjoy being in this video game type environment and just zapping the red bacteria and nourishing the green and blue bacteria to help them to be stronger. And in a moment, you're going to move away from here and go into your small intestine. So just clearing any remaining red ones that you see around you. And it's okay if you don't get to all of them. You can come back to this and you will keep working on this as you go. But as many as you can, get as many of red ones out of there and as many green and blue ones nourished to really support your gut. And now when you hear me snap my fingers, you're going into the small intestine. You're going to do the same thing if you find any red ones, and there may not be any there, but we're going to check. So here we go. We're moving into the small intestine now and doing the same thing, looking around you and noticing. Before you do anything, just noticing what's around you. Do you see any red ones lurking? Maybe they're trying to hide from you even. Or do you see mostly green and blue ones? So you get to pick your action depending on what you see around you. Just having fun with this, not worrying too much about what exactly it means. Just having fun. So if you see a lot of green and blue ones, giving them that food from your cup, it's like a limitless cup. There's all the food that you need to give to your good bacteria. If you see any red ones in your small intestine, you're going to use your zapper or vacuum to clear those out of that space. So again, taking a few moments here in your small intestine, walking around, and maybe you start to become like a detective. Maybe you can, lift up some of the folds. They might be trying to hide from you. Some of the red ones might realize what you're doing. They might be saying, "Oh, we don't want to leave. It's comfortable here." So as you're moving around, lifting up some of the folds that you find in the small intestine, seeing if there's any red ones hiding in there, or maybe just green and blue ones that you can give food to. Again, taking time here to move around and have fun, clearing out any red ones you see and nourishing and supporting any green and blue bacteria in your small intestine. And again, hearing the sound zap or another sound that comes to you anytime you clear the red ones, and feeling a sense or hearing a sound of ah anytime you nourish your good bacteria. Taking a few moments to clear out any last ones that you see around you of the red ones and nourish any green, blue ones you see around you. And then as you keep walking, you find yourself walking through that same portal that brought you into this video game gut environment. And you find yourself back in that cave in the forest, and you walk back out of the cave and just allow yourself to walk through the forest now, letting your mind drift. Again, feeling really relaxed and comfortable as you walk. And allowing any supportive statements or messages to come up for you in your mind here. Maybe it's something like, I'm learning how to support my gut better every single day. Maybe it's, I have tools to help me have a thriving gut. Maybe it's, I'm capable of finding the right support that I need to heal on a deep level. Maybe it's, I nourish myself with foods that support my healthy gut bacteria. So just taking a few moments to notice any statements that resonate for you. Maybe it's something that I've said, or maybe it's something that comes up for you in your own mind. Something that's really supportive and encouraging for you as you work on healing your gut. And it might be one statement that you really resonate with, or it might be a number of statements that come up for you as ideas to support you. However you do it is exactly right. You are doing it just perfectly. And I will now count you back and bring you back into this current moment. But before we go, remember from this place that you have tools, you are capable, and you are powerful. And your mind can be a powerful ally as you go through this healing journey of finding the right tools to support your gut. You can come back to these visualizations anytime you choose throughout the day or just in the morning and evening. You could come back to this if it's been helpful for you. We're going to start to now come back. 5, connecting with your breath once again. 4, feeling your connection with your seat or the place where you're lying down, feeling your body. 3, noticing any sounds in your environment, whether it be silence or specific sounds. 2, coming back more and more, letting yourself make some movements with your shoulders, with your feet. And 1, allowing your eyes to snap open, coming back with full energy, full vibrancy, ready to face your day. Welcome back.